Just happened. Hello. Hi. Is everyone ready? Great. My name is Simone Nelson, and I am the Managing Director of the CSU Entertainment Alliance. And what we do is connect the largest, most inclusive public university system in the country to the entertainment, arts, and media industry through a variety of programs. And we are thrilled to have you all here this morning, hundreds of you from across the state, interested in learning more about esports and careers and representation in gaming and entertainment. And we have this amazing panel of folks from diverse organizations and companies to speak about that. Before we get to that, I want to introduce my co-moderator, Sherry Holly from, hey, wave, Shari. She is from Pipeline. She'll tell you about why we're here today, why we partnered with her in Pipelines, a little bit about the house rules for today's event, and then throw it back to me. Go for it, Shari.
Sweet. Hi, everybody. My name is Shari. I'm Director of Operations for Pipelines. And Pipelines is really exciting because we are a mobile app that connects underrepresented talent to job and training opportunities across tech, entertainment, and creative, and companies to a vast pool of qualified, diverse talent. So it's a super cool, free tool for all of you to utilize to connect to career opportunities in these amazing industries. And I'll drop the information in the chat after I get done running my mouth. But welcome, we're so excited. This is the Pipeline CSUEA event. This is our third series. We decided to kick off this bi-weekly series. I know some of you were probably tuned into our first two because obviously we recognize there's a huge lack of information and education around these industries, particularly with representation. So we just want to highlight stories of working industry leaders. We want to give them the opportunity to share why this industry is so cool and why you should consider it as a career, and also give you a chance to ask questions. So like I said before, this is our third series. We're so excited about it. Our next session is in 2 weeks that focuses on animation and visual arts, which we will drop information about that as well. So I would just ask for some house rules, obviously, but I have to say it, turn off your cell phones. Please mute your computer notifications because we want to give all the attention to our panelists and all the cool information I'm going to share today. So if you have any distractions, crying babies, background noise, music, phones, computers, notifications, please turn them off out of respect for our speakers today. And then also just note that this is being recorded, okay? So if you don't know, this is a recording session that you will be able to access after today. You can reach out to myself or Simone or the team at CSU to access the recording. And then other than that, we will have a Q&A at the end. The Q&A is a little bit unconventional, but what we're gonna do at the end of the discussion, you will message me privately with all of your questions at the end. Please do not send your questions during the discussion because I will not see it and we will not get to it. We will let you know when the floor is open for questions and you will send it to me privately. So I would just jot down any questions that you have throughout the discussion. And that being said, I will throw it back to you, Simone.
Unmuted. I just want to say it's so cool to see in the chat people from all of our campuses, from all of our state here. Thank you all for being here this morning. Hope we get a lot out of it. We have an amazing group of diverse speakers. We have Kevin, Femi, Arabian Prince, and Eric. And I want them to, I could tell you all about them. You could look up, but there's, as Shari has said, the best person to talk about themselves is the person. So why don't we do this easily I'll just do an alpha order if that's okay with you guys. Tell us who you are, what company you work for, or what your company does, and maybe a little bit about how you got into what you're doing now, and if you went to college, how you went from campus to career, or how you got to be in professional esports, gaming, and entertainment. And we'll start with Kevin from Twitch.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kevin. I'm the global program manager here at Twitch. I work on the Twitch student program. Basically, I like to say build stuff I wish I had in school, which that means I institutionalize gaming and esports in colleges and high school all around the world. The program's in 26 countries now. And if you told me that this is what I'd be doing as a career, I probably wouldn't have believed you 5 years ago. We're super new when it comes to the institutionalization of gaming and esports. So if you're a college student that's involved in your gaming club at a CSU here, please hit me up. Happy to help you if you're looking to push for an official esports program. It's kind of what I'm here for. And yeah, I guess been doing this for about 4 or 5 years now. Haven't looked back since.
Yeah, the one thing I do want to say, because I know it about you, Kevin, is one of the ways you really launched your career, especially at Twitch, is by founding your own esports club on your campus. Isn't that right?
Yeah, so I started the University of Washington Gaming Club back in 2015, and then when UC Irvine launched their esports program in 2016, I was like, man, we definitely need to have one in Seattle because we have Nintendo, Valve, Amazon, Microsoft, they're all here, and so why can't Seattle have the same thing? And so I made the pitch to University of Washington when I was a super senior. And then, my proposal was accepted, and that's how we founded the UW esports program. So yeah, and then from there, Twitch asked me to join to help them do this for other schools, and I was like, you know what, why not? So I moved to LA, worked as a contractor for a year and a half, and then converted full time for the last 3 years. So it's been a wild ride. Yeah, super seniors when so it's like I was in school for 5 years for college.
Oh, you saw in the chat. Boy, you're
Yeah.
multitasking. Yeah, you're used to multitasking in gaming, right? Looking
Yeah.
at all different things. Thank you for introducing yourself. Femi, wave your hands, Femi. Got to unmute you. Where are you? There he is. Okay. Femi, tell us all about yourself and what you do at FaZe Clan and your background.
Yeah, sounds good. Can everybody hear me okay? Cool. Yeah, I am the VP of content here at FaZe Clan, head of content. So what we do is in my department, we handle all of the content that you see on FaZe Clan main channels. That is on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, etc. So I got to FaZe Clan 3 years ago. So one of the OG FaZe employees. When I first got to FaZe Clan, we were in a little house on Melrose with the sales team downstairs in the living room. Production team was just me and 3 editors upstairs, and then just a variety of people working freelance. But now we are 60 plus people and growing. It's really cool because I think the thing that FaZe Clan does differently than most other organizations is we really focus on the content that's representative of a much larger community. And that was one of my mission objectives when I became head of content here. So a little bit about my background. It's a very non-traditional start for me in my career path. I actually went to the University of California, Riverside, and got my degree in engineering, mechanical engineering to be exact. And after I graduated, I worked a few years in the aerospace industry, realized that wasn't for me, decided to leave and went and did design work for companies like Chevron. Again, I'm first generation American. For me, my parents are like, you're either going to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer, which is totally great. But, you know, I think in my own personal journey, I discovered that I had a different calling. And so I decided to leave about 5 years ago and pursue film and content creation full time. And very much like a lot of the guys here at FaZe and guys and girls here at FaZe Fan, I was self-taught. I did everything on my own. I went to the University of YouTube post UC Riverside and learned as much as I can when it came to film editing, directing, shooting, writing, etc. Worked at a bunch of different companies doing freelance work like Vice, BuzzFeed, and landed at Blavity, where I helped them build their production team. And then fast forward a few years later, got to FaZe Clan again, like I said, at the end of 2017, beginning of 2018, and really came here to really transform the way FaZe did content. Because the guys did it themselves back in 2014 when they decided to say, hey, we're more than gamers. We're going to turn the cameras on and we're going to become vloggers and we're going to make content like in real life. And I think that I'm trying to continue that same ethos into the work that we're doing now with some of the major brands that we work with, and as we start to get into more traditional platforms.
So you're saying for FaZe Clan, so it's almost like creating a mini ad agency in there, correct? But also the content related to the gaming, is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that everything for us falls into one of a few buckets. One of which is just organic, natural content that is relevant to the gaming community, because that is us at our very core. It started with these guys 10 years ago doing trick shots, playing Call of Duty. And it started to develop. We now have five professional professional teams, Rainbow Six, Counter-Strike, Call of Duty. We have Fortnite pros, and we also are in FIFA. And so we create content that's organic to just gamers, trick shots, montage videos, gameplay, just really good gameplay. And then we also do content with some of our other content creators that's more IRL. These are our influencers. And typically we do stuff with them and we partner them with some of our bigger brands. Like we're sponsored by Nissan, we're sponsored by Beats by Dre, we're sponsored by a few other folks. And so what we do with the content creators is we create branded content that one is relevant to the gaming community, but then I think now what we're trying to do is reach a much broader audience. And then finally, this is something new for FaZe, is we just recently partnered with Michael Sugar and Sugar 23. Sugar 23 is a production company that created the show 13 Reasons Why. They also won an Oscar for the film Spotlight. And our partnership with them is helping FaZe Clan get into more traditional and streaming platforms. Like, we create really great YouTube content. Our guys are killing it on Twitch with Nick Merckx and Swag and some of these other guys. Our Instagram has grown tenfold over the last 3 years, and we do a lot of YouTube. Now our partnership with Michael Sugar and Sugar 23 team, it's like, all right, now how do we make content for the gaming community that's going to live on the Netflixes and Hulus and HBOs of the world? And so that's our next venture.
That's exciting. That's a lot. Basically, you want to be the ultimate multi-platform content maker, creator, doer, and you're supporting the work through a lot of that, the branding, right? Working with the brands. I mean,
exactly.
I mean, the point is, we love gaming. The word gaming sounds like fun, but these are businesses, right? So you have to make the money to feed business to create the cool content that you want to create.
Exactly. For us, the biggest thing, and I'll just tell a really quick story, is that in 2018, we got our first partnership with Nissan. And Nissan really wanted to make content for gamers, but they didn't know what that was. And I think that for me, it would have been doing a disservice to just throw a logo slap on some gaming content, say, hey, watch some Fortnite content, you're going to see a Nissan logo at the beginning of it. I was like, there's an opportunity here for us to create gaming content that goes a little bit deeper than just gameplay. And so what we did is we decided to use the cars as like a literal and figurative vehicle by which we tell the origin stories of our gamers. And Nissan absolutely loved that. And I think that snowballed us into doing more organic work with other brands, like what we're doing with Beats. Beats has a product where it's all about lifestyle. And what what I'm trying to show, and what the team is trying to show, is that gamers are more than just people sitting down at their computers or at their consoles playing video games. They have life outside of that. So now we're utilizing the Beats product to showcase their life outside of just playing video games.
That's really cool. And subtle product placement is what I appreciate, not the most like, here's my can of Coke right in front of you. Fabulous. Up next, we have, well, does he need an introduction? That's what I'm saying. The original OG Arabian Prince. Yes, you.
Oh, you lied to me. This is the second time you lied to me. You told me I was supposed to talk to like 5 people. There's a whole bunch of people in here. We need to discuss
You're
this.
popular. What can I do? What can I do? You're a popular guy.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, and all the amazing people that showed up. I'm Arabian Prince. I'm one of the founding members of the rap group NWA. And people go, why are you here? And what does this have to do with gaming? Well, I am the Yoda of gaming. Let's call it that. I've been in the gaming space for about 40 years, actually in producing and coding and graphics. I did all of that in parallel to being in the rap group. I was just nerdy kid from the hood that taught myself how to code, taught myself how to do animation, worked on tons of film and television products. I actually did the first, all of the visual effects in the first series of the Power Rangers. And that's how I got into gaming, is I was working on Power Rangers, and Fox Interactive back in the day had started their interactive division. And we were doing all of the Fox Kids Saturday morning cartoons at the time. And I walked over to Fox Interactive and I'm like, I want to make games. And they were like, no, like, we know who you are. We know, like, you have to know how to do games. I said, well, how do you know how to do games? Because there's no schools that teach you, especially back in the before times. I'm like, you guys don't know what you're doing either. So let me in. They were nice enough to let me come in and work with them. And I've worked on over 100 gaming products and titles over the last 30, 35 years. And now, you know, kind of deep into all the other aspects of gaming, esports, building new hardware. I built a product called M Classic. That's the first ever graphics card for gaming consoles. I just started a new streaming company called GOAT with 3 G's, Triple G OAT, where we are building streaming computers for all of the amazing people out there trying to stream, especially my DJ buddies and musicians and other people who are stuck in COVID and don't know much about streaming. They're having to learn now. So we're out here creating products to help this new world we're in, especially the virtual world in gaming. So that's short on me.
That's amazing. So you're saying that the new streaming assistance you're doing related to COVID, if someone needs that kind of assistance, how do they work with you or learn more about it?
Yeah, they can just go to goat.com, triple-G-oat.com, and that little box behind you is actually a streaming computer that we're building for, you know, tuned and built just for streaming. You know, like, you can game on it as well, but it's robust enough to handle streaming and gaming and all of the things that people do. Because unfortunately, all you people out there who raise your hand and have a MacBook and you're trying to stream with your MacBook, you can't really do that right now. It's hard. So you really do need to get into a PC with, you know, RTX graphics or the new, you know, AMD graphics and stuff to really make that happen. And we're out there doing that. And part of our proceeds and all of the people that I'm hiring are from the inner city, because one of my biggest things is really, really giving back to the inner city, because I come from Compton, born and raised. You know, no one ever taught me anything. I learned on my own. And I want to spread that knowledge to the inner cities and get the younger generation, you know, to be represented more. So it's like more people that look like me doing this, you know what I mean? So my thing is really, really to get the kids to understand that, yes, you can get into technology. Yes, you can get into gaming, and not just playing games. You can own the gaming companies. You can build the hardware. You can build the software. You can work in many of the 100 and something jobs in gaming right now that most people don't know exist.
incredible. Thank you for offering that. I mean, that's one of the main reasons we're doing this event today, because a lot of the students and folks listening in are that next generation of diverse industry leaders, and they need to hear it and hear it from you. I have a really quick question, and some people in the chat do too. So do you mean the little silver box, or you mean the SpongeBob box?
So the little white silver box right here, that's the gaming computer. That
I
means
know, I was kidding.
don't know, but that one over there. So
Yeah.
for those that don't know, this actually is a gaming computer as well. So this is a custom gaming computer that one of my partners, EVGA, had built for me for Christmas, because I'm a big SpongeBob fanatic.
Are you? Well, let me just tell you something I know. The man, Mr. Hilliard, who created SpongeBob, went to a Cal State campus.
Oh, wow.
Right.
And
there
rest
we
in
go,
peace.
CSU students.
Yes.
Would you believe it was Humboldt? It was.
Yeah, and rest in peace. And there is a SpongeBob, I think, cafe right next to the school, correct? Like a restaurant.
Up there. Oh, really? I didn't see that.
Up there. Yep, I've never been there, but I want to go.
It's beautiful, beautiful campus. I'm sorry I missed that. That's super cool. All right, and certainly not least, but last for intros is Eric C. Wallace from DigiGlo and Glow Navy. Can't wait to hear from you. Tell us about yourself.
How you guys doing? So I started off as a gamer, obviously, as most of us have, and then but my first passion was music business. So I went to school for that, graduated with a degree of music business, and then as I was working at a music agency, I noticed that I was watching a lot of YouTubers, and I wanted to get immersed into that world. I'm the type of person that if I'm interested in a subject, I deep dive into it and I learn as much as possible. So I started finessing my way into the YouTube space in New York. I didn't have the followers that you needed to have, but I figured out a way to get it. So I would just do that to meet different creators and different people like that, to just learn as much as possible about the space. And then I decided now I wanted to come to California because this is where most of the YouTube business is. So I talked to my friend who I'd known for a while, who was managing Chief Keef, and still is. And I decided to move to California to work with them on YouTube videos and learn as much as possible about the YouTube space. Then I found out that Keith had an esports team. And I'm like, wait, what? He's got a few guys that he's been playing with for years. And so I started doing my homework on that and learning as much as possible about the field. And I was like, hey, let's put this together. Let's build this to something that is sustainable. So ever since then, I've been working on Glow Navy, which is what the company's called. DigiGlo is the parent company. And I've been building that company for the last year and a half now. So yeah, it basically put together all my passions into one, with gaming, music, and all that stuff, and YouTubers, because with content creating, that comes in as well. So it combined everything that I was passionate about, and here we are.
All of you, there's a common theme. I don't know if the listeners as well can hear that there was a common theme. In a sense, you made your own opportunities. You taught yourself. You made it happen in an industry that's just trying to figure itself out now. You created your own opportunities, and that's a really invaluable kind of thing to hear. For a younger person, you don't have to wait. The world doesn't happen to you. You can make the world happen for you, and combine your talent, your skills, your intelligence, and your passions, and actually make a living. What? I know, it's crazy. How can that happen? Thank you for introducing yourself and giving us a little bit more, and maybe we'll get into sort of what a typical day looks like if we have more time in the chat. But let's talk Esports 101 for some of the folks. I know there might be eyeball rolling, but there are some folks here in our audience today who don't really know what's the big deal about esports right now? Where did it begin? How did it start? And then we're going to talk about the spot it is right now. And then we're going to look towards what you guys think is the future of esports 2 years, 5 years, 10 years from now. And why don't we start with Eric, who works for, with Kevin, who works for Twitch, because Twitch being really one of the largest platforms for esports content, you have an interesting purview of sort of an overview versus someone working for one specific gaming company. So talk to us, and especially you, Kevin, because you work with students all the time for scholastic and collegiate esports. So tell us about, from your perspective, where did this all begin? Brief. I know it's a big topic, but briefly.
Yeah. So, well, at Twitch, we do like to say that Twitch and esports kind of grew up together. The story of Twitch, of how the name became Twitch, before Twitch, it was called Justin TV. It was a 24/7 live stream of our founder Justin Khan's life. It was back in 2007, and the technology was brand new, and it was like pretty groundbreaking to live stream someone for 24/7. If you guys didn't remember, like that would have cost you a ton of money back when dial-up days and when there wasn't high-speed internet. But we turned out to be quite boring. Watching an engineer live 24/7 is not that exciting. But we opened up the platform to everybody using Justin.tv. So we took the technology and gave it away for anyone to kind of create content. And back then, Justin TV was kind of like you can stream anything, from fitness to games to IRL to music, anything. But in 2010, when the company had to make a pivot, they saw that the biggest category on Justin.tv was gaming, and it was because of StarCraft. And so the company rebranded in 2010, 2011 to Twitch.tv because if you guys know pro StarCraft, it looks like they're twitching, how fast they're moving. So that's kind of where the name came from, was Twitch.tv came from competitive StarCraft. And so from there, uh, live streaming kind of took off with gaming, as you guys obviously, to where it is today. We still have I still like to stuff. That was kind of like the history of 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 that new technology, and then pivoting to gaming, and now you know I guess from there, it's how it kind of blew up in universities and schools, I think. And back in between 2010 and 2015, college gaming clubs were pretty huge, with League of Legends, with Smash, Melee, with different gaming clubs all over campus. That probably, I would say gaming clubs on college campuses are the largest clubs by far. It beats out all the fraternities, it beats out all the cultural clubs. And then in 2015, 2014, 2015, we saw the first ever varsity esports program called Robert Morris University. So that's kind of what broke the news and kind of turned everyone's heads towards, what could an official esports program could look like. And then in 2016, um, UCI, University of California, Irvine, created their esports program, being the first ever public institution to create an official esports program, giving away full ride scholarships and all that stuff. And with all these clubs, thousands and thousands of clubs in North America, when they saw this, everyone went out and decided to pitch to their campus. So I was one of them, one of the club presidents, that we're all kind of scheming together. Man, how can we get UCI? Because we were pretty competitive, and we want what others have. So this kind of rippled across North America and now globally. As of today, there's about 450 official gaming esports program in North America alone. There is now handfuls of official esports programs around the world. So I've been working with schools in the UK, to Spain, to Turkey, Thailand, and the Philippines. Like, everyone's looking at North America as an example of how they can bring esports into higher education. And I like to say that we're pretty groundbreaking. Like, I think, just to put a pause on things and kind of take a step back, the institutionalization of gaming esports has only been around for 5 years. UCI just had their first graduating class last year. So we're like just 4 or 5 years old. We still have no idea where this is gonna go, and so I want to kind of just leave that off for other folks to kind of comment on and talk about um their esports history, especially Arabian Prince with such crazy perspective of how that's kind of changed in the last 30, 40 years. But that's kind of where Scholastic Esports is right now at the college level. And then the high school space is also is actually growing quite faster than college because they can make decisions a lot faster. There's the relationship between teachers and their principals a lot short. The bureaucracy is not there like in the college space, so that high schools are adopting esports programs a lot faster.
Excellent point. And we'll get into why collegiate esports, if you're a student, why you might want to do it if you're not doing it, scholarship opportunities, maybe the relationship between professional and collegiate sports and esports and how they're alike and different. But definitely, let's shoot it off to Arabian Prince because he does have an interesting perspective.
Yeah, so it's funny, Kevin mentioned that it goes way back actually. So gaming, it wasn't called esports until recently, but back in the before times, like I remember, people used to bet and gamble in gaming in the arcades. I'm talking way, way back, in the early arcade games, playing all the different games, it's Pac-Man and Donkey Kong and Centipede. People would actually bet and play each other, and there were tournaments back then in the arcades. And then with the handheld games, with the handheld Colecos coming out and stuff like that, people used to bet and play against each other, playing a little sprite game. So it's been around. I go back to competitive with Quake. I used to battle against Fatality and all those guys in Quake. And yeah, it wasn't called esports. It was very small. The money was small. The prizes were small, but that was kind of like the start of it in the late 80s, early 90s. And today, now the money is big and the prizes are big, and you got millions and millions of people connected around the world that are competing online in esports. Like for a good analogy, if you look at what Epic and what Riot are doing, with League of Legends and with Fortnite, there's, I think, and Kevin can verify this, I think Epic, don't they like spend like 100 million or something in just their esport prizes a year for Fortnite? I think it is. It's close to $100 million. I think they do. But it's a crazy market we're in right now.
Yeah. So when it comes to like, yeah, it was like I think it was for their World Cup. It was like 100 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to confirm, but it's just ridiculous prize pools now. You see. To add to that as well, where like on the live streaming side, Twitch has kind of, I think we're in the beginnings, and the last 10 years have been the beginnings of the passion economy, where the economy now is, it's the passion economy is about is sharing what you like to a wider audience in like a very TLDR way of saying it. So for example, from YouTube to Twitch, but now even on Etsy, where I buy my D&D dices, you can just do everything you can basically share your hobbies and your interests through an audience on the internet and monetize off that. And we're at the very beginning stages of what that world could look like. And I think companies like Epic Games with Fortnite has kind of really empowered creators and given them a platform to not only monetize but also build these types of tier one experiences that that can level up the viewership, but also level up the overall ecosystem. At, on the other side of that, with Twitch, what we like to do, some of my favorite projects I work on is working with student streamers. So helping like I've met dozens and dozens of students that paid off their student debt with the money that they've earned on Twitch. I think that's really exciting. I think with the COVID era, when they're, streaming is probably one of the safest occupations they could do right now. Not to, but outside of COVID, you don't have to go buy a car to go to work at somewhere. You're now starting your own business. I like to say DJ Wheat says this often, but like streamers are their own producer, their own business person, their own social media manager. They do it all. And, I think it's pretty empowering to kind of teach these skills. And so, yeah, we're at the beginning of what that passion economy could look like. And I think streaming has kind of put that on the mark, as more and more people want to become content creators, which is pretty exciting. It kind of liberates people from, uh, I think this is one of the newest industries since like the finance industry in the 90s. Um, yeah.
So you kind of alluded to the fact you're basically an Arabian Prince is an entrepreneur, but you're an entrepreneur when you're a streamer. You're saying you can be your own business, your own maker, your own editor, your own producer, right? Your own creative, your own music, whatever it is. It's your world, you make it. But you also, it sounds like to me, event producer, right? There's so many skill sets, which is why like the Cal State system and the CSU Entertainment and Alliance is looking at creating curriculum around all these skills that college students can take. So when they leave or while during school, like what you did, Kevin, they can launch their own club, launch their own business, be their own whatever it is, gamer, platform, producer, content producer like Femi is and was in all different ways. So that's really exciting to learn as well. And students, if you would be interested in that kind of course on your campus, let us know in the chat because we're saving this chat and we're going to send it to the chancellor's office. That's all I got to say. So Femi, in your experience as a streamer, tell me, you went from a more traditional production model into this world of esports. Do you notice any differences? Are there new skill sets you had to learn, or is it extremely similar, maybe different vocabulary?
Well, I had the department, and there's definitely streamers on our team. So for us, I think what we made sure it was kind of like a company-wide thing that we all talked about a few years ago. And I think a part of the problem was people were trying to repackage content and they weren't making it organic to the platform that it's for, right? And I'm sure Kevin can attest to this, like there's very specific types of content there's very specific types of things that people do on Twitch that are very successful, whether it be gaming or just chatting. YouTube, there's a number of different categories of content, even in the gaming space that you can be creating on YouTube. For a good majority of time back in 2018, everybody only wanted to see Fortnite content. Back in 2014, 15, go a little bit older than that, 2012, 2013, FaZe was just doing montages. It was this series called Illcams, whereby these guys would link up. FaZe Temper would be the one that would kind of get all the guys on board. At the time, this is before they were using Discord. They were all talking via Skype because they were all over the world, and they were kind of setting up some challenges amongst each other and then creating a montage video called Illcams. And so for us, I do think that there are differences between the platforms. The most important thing anybody can do is understand the platform that you're going to be creating the content for and understand the audience that you want to create that content for. I think without those two things, you can't be intentional. And without intentional content, I think it underperforms. Oh, you might be muted.
Sorry, there was a plane going by. I wanted to mute. Throwing it to you, Eric, with your background as a gamer originally. You're from the East Coast, I heard, right?
Born in Virginia, moved around. I moved around a lot though. Lived in Chicago, New York, all over the place. Vegas, all over the place, yeah.
But you love California, don't you?
I mean, California is cool. I love New York though.
That's all right. I'm from New York, basically. I get it. So I want to know from your perspective and your age demographic, what do you think, right, in the spot you're in right now with DigiGlo and Glow Navy, what are you launching right now, and where do you think the industry is going over the next few years? What kind of projects do you have coming up?
Well, Well, we're about to launch a bunch of different things. We plan on doing tournaments. We're gonna have a tournament platform launching where anybody can join up and actually play and even potentially play against some celebrities and fun stuff like that. Also win prizes and cash as well. So there's gonna be that. We're also launching our first merch drop. Which will hopefully be either November or December. And then we're gonna be putting out a lot more content in general. Obviously, since we have a celebrity involved, getting him involved with the content is a little bit of a cheat code for some of the other organizations that have to start from scratch. But we're gonna use it to help us grow. But how I see the future is a lot more, in terms of the organization space, like the esports orgs, a lot of them are going to be getting into more content, and you see it happening already. A lot of the companies that stick to only the competitive are going to not survive because it's just not sustainable business. And obviously, Femi knows all about this coming from FaZe Clan. They've kind of set the standard of content first, and then having the esports wing as well. So you'll start to see, and you already are starting to see more companies becoming entertainment companies. T1 just signed, what's his name, Tyler One, and then XQC just got that partnership, just got signed with Luminosity. I'm pretty sure they probably gave him a piece of the company potentially to come over, but you see it happening right now. Like everyone wants to have that sustainable business, and just winning championships right now, it just doesn't make sense for a lot of organizations, because especially you have to change your branding in some games and all that type of stuff. It just doesn't make sense. So you'll see it more and more, everyone becoming entertainment companies, and on the organization side, and potentially even some of these guys might make their own video games. I know we're going to be working on that as well. So just diversifying themselves and getting into different things instead of just sticking into the competitive side.
On that note, so your company says you produce culture shifting video games and interactive media, which I really appreciated. Well, thank you for that segue. What you didn't even know you did that. What is meant to you and your company by culture shifting, and can you what is and what's the involvement of your founder? Talk to us about Chief Keef and your relationship in working with him and how he got involved in this industry.
Well, he's been a gamer since day one. He blew up on the scene at 16 years old. He's he's only 25 now, and he's considered an OG, which is kind of crazy in the business. A lot of the other artists that are coming out today, like the Lil Pumps, Yachty's, all these guys, they're all big fans of him, and they look up to him. So that's his influence. Like, he's influenced the entire hip hop scene in that way. And then he's always been a gamer, so he used gaming to kind of build a community of people that he plays with that are fans. And he's had these fans they're not just fans anymore, they're friends. So he gets to play with them all the time. And we're now turning this into a legitimate business of creating content, showing the diversity of gaming, and really pushing that through of this is authentic. He's not a person that's just oh, well, this is what's in, I'm gonna play. No, he's been doing this for years. And he's a trendsetter.
Yeah, like someone else, Arabian Prince. Now that's the OG right there. No offense to Chief.
Right. I mean, he's a newer OG. He's not.
OG, old guy. That's me.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm gonna be the old girl. I'll be the old girl. So thank you for that.
Did I answer all your questions?
Yeah, you did. But really quickly, how are you monetizing your content? Because I know what FaZe Clan is doing, or are you're getting there?
Well, it's happening now. Like some of the guys have built their audience and they have fan bases, and they're making money through the content. And we're gonna be making more content soon. We're gonna be releasing more content soon, I should say. Also the apparel, and then working on the tournaments, and we're gonna be releasing apps and games and all different types of things. So it's all in the works now. You'll see more of it coming.
Got it. Thank you for that. So, Femi, your thoughts on the next few years as this world is exploding, and very soon you're not going to have to explain what esports is, right? But you did mention the involvement of big brands, big companies, the commercialization of it. Is there also some fear, everybody on the panel, about what that could do to this kind of organic community?
Yeah, well, I do think that we are starting to see it now. A lot of brands and companies are pouring a ton of money into esports and gaming. It's interesting because they don't really know what to do, because they don't really know what it is yet. It's an enigma to some folks, not to all of us on this call. But this may be right or wrong, but I liken gaming to the early days of hip hop, skateboarding, and even anime culture. It's a lot of these things were subcultures to start, and had a very tight group of people that found themselves in a community. And I think with the advent of the internet and just with the way things kind of transpired, like rap music became popular music. It's the most downloaded, the most streamed form of music right now. Skateboarding is an Olympic sport. Netflix is putting out anime shows every 2 weeks. Gaming is becoming popular culture because we found that our communities are much larger than what we originally thought. Everybody, I tell people all the time that, at least in my household, you have 3 different types of gamers with 3 different types of people. My mom, who plays Words with Friends. You have me, who passively plays Call of Duty every now and then. And you have my brothers, who will play League of Legends for 12 hours straight, or turn that off and play Kingdom Hearts for the 100th millionth time. So it's 3 very different types of gamers. And I think that what we're finding out is that Jace gaming is becoming ubiquitous. And so where I see it heading in the future is, yes, more and more brands are going to want to come in and put their money into it and want to get exposure, because they know that everybody's tapped in. But here's the thing. Gamers are probably the original trolls of the internet. We are unapologetic, and we do not hold back. Like, we will let you know when we don't like something. And for better or for worse, it's just how things are. And I think that that's one of the biggest things we made sure that we understood when we wanted to make content with some of our brands, is that we listen to our audience, we listen to our talent, the guys who have been in the scene for a decade and more. Is like, how do we do things that are organic and authentic to us? Because if we don't, we will hear about it, and the internet will drag us. It is unforgiving and it never forgets. And so I think that, yes, there's going to be a ton of money being poured into it. I think it's going to get bigger and bigger. Where I see gaming, there's going to be maybe a Scorsese film directed one day about gaming. I don't know. It's probably going to be an Olympic sport, more than likely. We've already seen the documentaries coming out about gaming, about the history of gaming, things that have come out. I think that, as there starts to be more and more notable names within the space, we're probably going to be seeing like a crazy documentary pretty soon. Like, Ninja is huge. And what Ninja's done for the industry and for the space is monumental. And I don't think that anybody denies that. But Ninja is big because he's by himself right now, right? I think there's still a superstar, like a global superstar, to be discovered in the space. And I'm really curious to see who that person is and when that's going to come.
Yeah, speaking of global, I saw that you're expanding greatly in the Asian market with FaZe Clan as well, and even what Kevin said, Twitch, working in Europe with their burgeoning collegiate esports clubs, right? So my question for you, Kevin, is what I noticed. You remember me saying to you, I think it was last year, a year and a half ago, I don't know, with COVID, it's the 8,000th day of March right now. So I saw that Twitch had all of a sudden rebranded its website, calling itself an entertainment company, right? And that's not what it was. And I went, oh, I see where you're going. And then before my role, a lot of what I do is I look for trends, industry trends, entertainment, arts, and media. And sometimes that means looking at what jobs come up. And then all of a sudden I saw all these jobs at Twitch related to music, entertainment. So I said, oh, I see where this is going. Is there any way you can share with us what you think, what's currently going on with Twitch in terms of more of a global media entertainment company, not just focusing on esports, but also the future of Twitch as a platform?
Yeah, so I'd like to say that we're going back to our Justin.tv roots with content that we were supporting back with Justin TV, and now, you know, I think Femi said this, where gaming is, anime, pop culture, music. We have so many different interests that, gaming is just the connective fiber. But now we have all these supportive interests, from cooking to music to anime watch parties. Like, there's a lot going on now on Twitch that I think opens the doors for more creators to share, again, their interests and their hobbies with the world. There's like this Discord group of a bunch of teachers that are teaching their classrooms on Twitch, that are just, it's interesting to see where people are taking the technology and running with it. Some of the ways that I've been seeing people have used Twitch I've never seen before, through their own take on how they want to live stream. So I think that's pretty exciting. Um, Music's probably I do not work on that team. I was working on the team for like 2 months when in like March, to help transition, as they were growing out that department, that team. I was looking into, all the new artists that they were onboarding and such. Yeah, it's it's interesting for artists right now on Twitch, since that is one of the only ways they could create some sort of live medium that's replacing concerts. Um, yeah, it's it's a bit of it's a bit of an education curve right now, where, we have to educate them on, like, hey, you have to broadcast consistently, to, getting them to feel comfortable using Twitch more often. uh and, it's not just something you launch um your next album on, and call it quits. You're gonna have to build on that, like, kind of like T-Pain, and also like Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park. They've been using it pretty heavily. So if you want some examples, I mean, T-Pain and Mike are killing it on the platform. Um, yeah, so that's kind of where we're going now, when it comes to different types of entertainment. I think back in the day, you were it was like taboo to not stream gaming. Like, I think back in like 2013, 2014. So it's pretty cool to see that shift. Um,
That's
so
that's
yeah.
that's actually exciting, I think, for the world of what we focus on with the Entertainment Alliance is so much broader. And I think that lends itself to the next thing I want to quickly cover, which is both opportunities in this world, career opportunities for diverse people, and the lack of representation right now in the world of gaming and entertainment in general, as we know. So what do you think, and anyone jump in, answer this on the panel. Why do you think, is it just obvious there's a lack of representation in everything, so that's going to include gaming? And how can we combat this, besides what we're doing right now, besides looking at university systems like the CSU to get the next generation of people who are gamers and in the industry to look like what the world is, right? So what do you guys think? How do we do this? Go for it, Arabian.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about this after this is over, because basically what we have to do, and what I've been trying to do, is we have to see more people that look like the rest of the world doing this. And I mean people of color, people from the inner cities and stuff like that. And what I'm trying to do is, it's that secret sauce. The problem is the people who are actually making all the money aren't sharing the secrets. They aren't out there telling how it's done. So we got to get into the inner cities. We got to get to the people that don't have the resources and give them the resources. One of the things I'm doing, and I'm not trying to promote any of this stuff, I'm just kind of bringing stuff up. So hopefully I, kind of give some people hope, or even inspire other people to do the same things. We're working with this project called Solar Project in South LA. And we're building an esport arena in the inner city. We started before COVID, and then we had to slow it down, but now we're building it back up. And then Oprah Winfrey got involved, and Dre and Jimmy Iovine got involved. So we're starting there, and hopefully we can do that and then grow that across the country. And, like now we can take kids from the inner city and say, here's a place where you can go practice. Here's a place where you can go be a gamer. And not only, like I said, a gamer, you can be a shoutcaster, which most people in this room, unless you are a gamer and follow esports, knows what that is. There are over 100 games, 100 jobs in this industry. And Femi will tell you, like, you started not in this, and your skills got you in. And now you're with one of the biggest companies in the planet of esports. And I tell this to all these kids, like, there's kids I run into, they got more followers than me on social media, and they're not doing anything but just on their phone every day. I'm like, that's a job. Like, some company will hire you and pay you tons of money to do that. So my thing is just getting it out there. And even the Cal State systems, there's a lot of kids that have no hope to go to school at all. That's not their pathway. But as you guys start building these other verticals in the Cal State system, saying, hey, you can go and get a career in gaming, or you can go get a career in entertainment. Now you'll start seeing them go, oh, well, maybe I do want to go to a Cal State or a university, because now they have something for me. So that's my push, is to just kind of push that out there.
Yeah, on that, talk to us. So Innovate Next, your company, right? And you discussed earlier all these different things you're doing, but you really do have a social impact side of what you do. It's one of the many amazing things about you, besides you being an important creative figure in the world of music. But so is it, I'm asking for a reason, because someone in the chat, Solar Impact or Project, or Solar?
Yeah, it's Solar, S-O-L-A, Solar
Okay.
Impact.
So
Yeah.
Jason, do you work with Jason?
Oh, he's here. Is he
Yeah.
here? Hey, I'm shouting you out, Jason.
Yeah, I can multitask too, because I'm looking at the chat and making sure we're on time, producing. Yeah. So thank you for putting that in. If you wanna, Jason put he put his email address in there. If you have a website or whatever.
If anybody wants to help or get involved, like we're going to go get it and make it big. And
I'm just gonna say that is the way to do it. You guys, if you want to get involved in this industry, volunteer, get your foot in the door. And what about helping people at the same time? You'd be crazy not to take somebody up on that offer. That's all I'm saying, putting it out there. Speaking of which, how do you get a foot in the door in this industry? Do you have to start your own club? What if you're good at, like Arabian Prince said, social media marketing? Can I get my foot in the door? What do I do? Any thoughts? And then I'm gonna head out after we get to that question. I'm gonna have Sherry come in. Sherry Holly will be moderating our Q&A with the students. So students, if you could start by sending her target messages in the chat for questions for our panelists. You can start that now. Okay, I see Femi with his hand up.
Privately, message me privately. Thank you.
So when I decided, I'll tell you really quick about my kind of pathway into this. When I decided that I was going to leave engineering, mind you, I'd already worked 4 years as an engineer for companies like Boeing and Chevron. When I left and I decided to pursue film, I swallowed up my ego and my pride, and I literally went out to as many film sets and places that I can go and said, look, I will pick up coffee. Do you need me to fax papers? Do you need me to print stuff out? Do you need me to run to Staples? Like I'll do that because I'm here to learn. And I think that's one thing that I appreciate about anybody who comes to work for FaZe Clan when they're first starting out. We have this guy who just started more recently. His name is Addison. I won't give his last name for now, but Addison, last year when we had a pop-up on Melrose, mind you, this pop-up line wrapped around the block of Melrose. This kid Addison waited in line with his resume, not to buy merch, sure, to meet the FaZe guys, but literally saw what we were doing with content and said, hey, I just want to hand my resume to somebody. So can you just make sure this gets into the right hands of somebody else? And waited in line for hours to hand that resume to us. And what that showed me is he was willing to go outside of his comfort zone to find the opportunities for himself, which is very much a story like my own, and I'm sure like a lot of our other panelists. And so that resonated with me. And now Addison's working for us at FaZe. And he started off as an intern, then he started off as a production coordinator. Now he's working as a producer. But I think we all, like, as you're trying to find opportunities, especially in this space that for some of us is very old, but for some of you guys are very new, I think you just got to put yourself outside of your comfort zone and just go out there and talk to people. I was having a few conversations in the chat privately with a few individuals, and I know my journey into this industry, into this career of mine. And so I know what it took for me to get here, and I'm willing to help those that are also willing to do the same. So I would say just go out, get outside of your comfort zone and put yourself out there, and the universe will receive that energy, and I'm sure we'll give it back to you tenfold.
Yeah, like you don't ask, you don't get. Ask nicely, right? But you don't ask, you don't get. What's the worst that can happen? No, no. They're not gonna, throw eggs in your face, most likely. So Eric, you got something? And don't forget, if you all have internships or volunteer opportunities or some way someone can shadow you, let us know, because that's really important. You can put it in the chat. You can put your hand up. It could come out in the Q&A. I don't care, but it's really important. Go for it, Eric.
Yeah, I mean, like everyone said, you have to do what you have to do to, get the position that you want. Like I used to have a website where I interviewed entertainment professionals just so I can get into the conferences with a press pass to meet them. So like I created this entire media company just to, meet people. I actually did the videos and I actually interviewed the people, but that was the way of me meeting them and getting to know them, and I can have conversation with them from that. So you have to figure out, if you really want to do something, you're gonna figure a way out to make it happen, pretty much. Also, when you get into that internship, make yourself very valuable. Make it so that those people cannot live without you. Because if you do that, you're guaranteeing yourself a job. Because when you're not around, they're like, wait, where's Femi? Where's Arabian? Where's Kevin? I need them to do this real quick, but these interns over here can't do this, like make yourself very valuable to that company and you're guaranteeing yourself a job. Don't just sit back and hope that you're entitled to that position or anything, just
right. And Kevin, do you have anything to add, or any of you guys I know Twitch has internships, right?
Yeah, so I guess like the first point is that we have engineering internships happening right now. Our recruiting season's from now, I think, till December. We have, I think, 20 to 30 slots, and it's full-time engineering experience, and it's going to be remote for next year, but typically they have you work in SF and they pay for all your housing. We have a Michelin star chef in the office when there's no COVID, so you have free breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Just to have, I love, college kids love free food. I think, well, who doesn't love free food? Yeah, so that's our engineering internship. I guess like my favorite advice when I was starting out was going on LinkedIn and just DMing people that I thought had really cool jobs. As a college student, most people would like to say yeah. Like if I'm asking you to talk about yourself, most of the time they'll say yes, because there's not that many times where people get to talk about what they do for work. I think not enough people, I don't think a lot of people ask people what they do for work. So I think that's probably my favorite thing, was getting on a 20-minute phone interview with that person and ask them how they got to where they are, but also what their day-to-day looks like, so I can see if that's for me. I think that was probably the best thing, where I was able to filter down what I wanted to do when it comes to esports. I think Arabian said there was like, Prince had like said that there's 100 different jobs in this space. So that's 100% true. And so you want to kind of filter down which skill set that you want to apply yourself for yourself. I think the third advice I have there is, even if you don't get into esports today, or like right out of college or during college, it's important to also work in developing your skills in an outside the industry, and then applying to get into an esports company. I think as a fresh graduate, you get two out of these three things most of the times. The first is location, two is salary, and third is industry. You get two out of those three things. Um, most of the time that's the case. And then from there, take the 2 to 3 years to develop your relationships, spend the weekends volunteering while you're on a salary at a different company, and then use your weekends to volunteer in esports. I think that will make you a super good candidate after a few years, and you can apply for a middle management role at a gaming esports company. Because I think right now it's pretty competitive, and if you uh, so yeah, so either you start something now, and if you know, able to build something, a portfolio for yourself, so you can get in right away. If you don't have anything now, it's okay to just apply somewhere else and then transfer that in later, and use that time to kind of explore what those jobs are.
And
um,
network.
yeah.
Meet people in the industry, meet people, go to events. Everything's remote now, and either low cost to no cost. Like literally you'd be talking, like you can private message someone in an event like this, correct? Then find them on LinkedIn and nicely message them and ask them if you could do a quick Zoom, the way Kevin was saying. All these different ways, just how to get your foot in the door, how to get information, how to build your network. Thank you. That was a great segue. You guys are amazing. I'm going to hand it off. I'm going to hand it off to Shari in a second for Q&A. I just want to thank you all for, honestly, your generosity of spirit and giving back to the next generation of diverse industry leaders. They're all here today, and a lot of their faculty are listening, so they know what to be looking for, what to be teaching, what's next on the horizon. It's really important, so our students can, you know, get those great jobs in this important field. So we have two things to talk about. Shari is going to talk about the Q&A. She's also going to talk about something Arabian Prince is doing for you all. That's super cool and super nice today for being on this chat. I'm going to send it to you, Shari.
All right, we don't have a lot of time, so we want to get through this as quickly but efficiently as possible, because we have a lot of questions. But before we go into the Q&A, okay, so Arabian, we're doing a giveaway. We're not gonna do this till the end, but we're doing a giveaway. He's giving away HyperX Cloud Orbit S gaming headphones. He's showing it off right now.
We got that ASMR going.
Everybody's excited. So stay on till the end. We're gonna ask a trivia question, and the first person to answer it in the chat after the Q&A will get these sweet pair of headphones out of the generosity of Arabian. So you have to stay till the end of Q&A, and then I'm gonna ask the infamous trivia question, and the first person to get it right will win those headphones. Okay, so let's jump right into the questions, because we have a lot of good ones. And this is popcorn style. I just ask that the panelists keep their responses brief but concise, because I want to get through as many of these as possible. Number one, for those of us more interested in working on the corporate side, like media and/or community relations, do you think it's necessary to have our own streaming or gaming content to help position ourselves successfully in the job market?
I can start. You know what I would say? And something I should have mentioned earlier. In this new world we live in, you are a brand. Everything about you is a brand. Everything you do is a brand. When you're in your personal social media, trust me, companies will go find it and look you up and see what you said and what you've done and how you dictate yourself in the photos that you post, even though they're not for the general public. So you got to kind of like pretend you're a brand. You are a brand, and that's going to make or break you in your future. So if you're trying to be successful, whether it's be a social media influencer, or if you just want to be a entrepreneur, business person, you really got to look at yourself as a brand. And no different than Apple, no different than Beats, no different than FaZe Clan. You are a brand, and that's how you got to, handle yourself.
Anyone else want to chime in?
I could chime in. At least for us at FaZe Clan, I think Arabian Prince is right. Like, you are a brand, you got to make sure that you're positioning yourself in the best way possible for whatever job that you're applying for. For me in particular, for the folks that we look for here at FaZe, it varies. As you guys all know, that this space is continually changing, and there's folks from outside coming in, and we've gotten people from the music industry, from traditional sports, we get people from entertainment, from film, coming into the space, and a lot of them are very fresh and green when it comes to gaming. So some of those individuals don't necessarily have an online and digital presence and are still finding some success here. But ultimately, make sure you look at the role that you're going for. Look for the company. Again, have some intention. Be intentional about what it is that you're doing, and then you'll discover whether or not you need to be having a streaming platform for that particular role.
Great. Next question. Is there a specific type of major or background that appeals to the gaming industry? I'm personally a finance major, for example, and would love to work in the industry. So basically people who may not have gaming experience, like what do companies look for? What kinds of majors or backgrounds are appealing?
I mean, all these esports companies are still businesses just like any other. So they all need the same positions, like finance people, accounting people, whatever, so account managers, sales managers, all those types of things. So if you want to be that, but want to focus in gaming, there are jobs for you. So keep looking or align yourself with different people who can put you in those positions, or look for those companies. There's something for everybody.
And I would say this too. Yeah, like you said, HR. I mean, people don't even think, oh, human resources. Yeah, gaming companies have to have human resources. Also, here's another little secret piece of advice. So gaming companies need quality assurance, which is game testers. And that's the easiest way to get into a game company, because you don't even have to really know how to play games to be a game tester, because they kind of want a balance of both. They want people who know the game, but I'm finding, because I've worked with QA companies for years, and you find out that the people who actually break the games are the people who don't know the games. The people who don't know what to do, they're doing stuff that they shouldn't do, and that's what breaks a game. And gaming companies love that. And another thing about that, I've got some friends now. Like, one of my friends is one of the heads of COD right now, Call of Duty, and he worked his way up from a game tester years ago, and now he's making like almost $1 million a year as one of the heads of Call of Duty. So game companies hire from within. So however you can get in, you get in, and you can grow from within the company.
And I would just very quickly piggyback. We talked a lot about this on our HR and resume panels before, but transferable skills, I'm like a transferable skills ambassador, okay? So these are skills that you have that may not be directly related to gaming, but they can still apply and be an asset. So transferable skills are skills that you have that apply to any and all industries. So if you don't have a lot of gaming experience for the role you're applying for, look at the job listing carefully and figure out what they're really asking for, and see if that applies to any other job or project you've worked on. So I just wanted to throw that 2 cents in there before we move on. The next question is, with the prevalence of COVID and the rise of social games like Among Us and Fall Guys, do you think we're going to continue to see a titanic shift in the popularity of social games, or will some lesser represented genre take the spotlight?
I would say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the beginning of that question?
With the prevalence of COVID and the rise of social games like Among Us and Fall Guys, do you think we're going to continue seeing a titanic shift in the popularity of social games, or will some lesser represented genre take the spotlight?
Yeah, I think social games will games made to stream are no no one expected Fall Guys or Among Us to kind of have the spotlight they are in right now. I think that's what makes it really cool to see these different types of games come up, and it's not and these games aren't made by AAA publishers, which is really cool. Um, and I think yeah, with Among Us and with Fall Guys, I think it's lessons learned that they don't have to be. People were arguing on Twitter if Fall Guys or Among Us will be esports or not. And I think this is probably the dumbest argument to make because I don't think you need that validation to be in esports or not. I think what we need to take a step back and and esports is really only 8 titles, and they're not inclusive at all. I think most of the esports titles are PC based here in North America, whereas games like Among Us, where you can play across different platforms with your friends, to even Fortnite, which kind of that whole Ninja Drake collaboration was made possible because Drake was playing on a PS4 and Ninja was playing on his PC. Um, so I think right now, esports needs to take a hard look at itself and make this a more in North America, make this a better place for participants across the board. And then from these types of games, it's really exciting to see these new types of content creators, um, thrive in these types of environments. Like even in like the AOC stream on Twitch last week, I thought that was really cool. She wasn't playing League of Legends, which was her game before. It was something that she just was able to get from the moment she decided to run that stream. Within 24 hours, they were able to ship and launch the game just fine. I think that was really exciting. Um, yeah, I think these types of social games are kind of breaking these emerging these important issues where AOC got to talk about the election process instead of games like League of Legends. It would have been very hard to kind of create that kind of dynamic, right? So it's pretty cool to see some of these games do really well with Twitch. Another example was like I think Fortnite did a really was took off because not because of all the collaborations they got to do with all the creators, but also like the first party IP they got to secure, like the Avengers, being like, you getting to use the Infinity Stones, and um, that was really cool to watch on stream, and also their all their big expansions or their big launches where um, you know Travis Scott on there, where that was the first time these kids are watching a concert in real life, right? Fortnite also added the feature where it's no longer just a battle royale, right? It's party royale and getting to do all these types of social things. I think Minecraft has really kind of set that precedent back in the day, where people were already doing this from the beginning without having without having these competitive games.
Yeah, and let me piggyback on that really, really quick. Two things. One, Among Us came out in 2018, and it was like just sitting around.
Yeah.
And COVID blew that up, right? And made that something famous. And to Minecraft, because of Minecraft, now you've got Animal Crossing, and people are using Animal Crossing to actually have events. Like I saw
Hmm.
an actual fashion show in Animal Crossing game. And it's crazy what people are doing with games now outside of gaming.
Thank you so much. Next question. How do I gain notoriety or clout for myself in the industry? And I guess this is general and for independent streamers. How do they gain notoriety or clout for themselves in the industry?
Collaborate with people. I mean, a lot of times people only play with their friends, but you have to go out and reach out to other people that you may not know and maybe have similar stream numbers as you, and get out there, get out of your comfort zone, meet new people, and then those people that watch them may come watch you because they think you're funny or they think you're cool or something like that. So, I mean, and also stream consistently if you're talking about streaming, or upload consistently as well. I mean, there's different algorithms for each platform, and you can easily Google those and then use your content within those algorithms and make it work. So it's not going to be easy. You got to work hard for it.
Perfect.
On the topic of streaming, just to add to that, sorry. Yeah, so there was a question about playing these games that are popular versus the games that you really enjoy streaming. I think it's important to just play the games you enjoy streaming. I think you will people will notice that you won't enjoy the game on stream, so it's better to play games you enjoy. Number two to that question is, if you want to introduce a new game, start with your bread and butter. So stream like 70% of your content with the game that people known you for, and then after you're done streaming that game, after like 2 hours or however long you're streaming, use the rest of the stream to introduce that new game. So you're not getting a huge drop off in viewership when you're starting the stream with that new game. I think it alienates your audience and your community. So start with your bread and butter, then transition to the second game or third game that you want to introduce. Um, Consistently streaming is a very important topic, and I think it's when a lot of new streamers start out, they think they're gonna be successful by streaming like 80 hours a month uh right off the bat. And I think that's not that helpful. I think it's important to take your stream. Like, I think it's even better to even do maybe anywhere between 5 to 10 hours a week of live stream content, and then from there use the rest of that 10 hours. If you're doing it at a part time level, use that additional hours left over to work on your social media, cut your content, upload on different platforms, and get discovered on these other social channels. Because I think streaming into the void is a disservice to the craft. I think, which uh, but I think that's important to focus on is diversifying. And I think utilizing utilizing the clips feature can help you take your stream content and upload to these different platforms very easily. Yeah, like TikTok and all these platforms that allows you to kind of distribute your content in these multiple places.
Thank you, Kevin. So we have time for 2 more questions before the giveaway trivia. I have a few questions surrounding this, and I'm just gonna meld it all together. But basically, as a woman who has always had the love for gaming and esports, what can we do to not only find a job, but also to get a seat at the table in what is mostly a male-dominated field? This is for my women out there who want to get into gaming.
I'm gonna say something, so funny. Back a few years ago, it was more that way, and Kevin can totally attest to this. Women streamers actually get more followers than men streamers now. It's like flipped upside down. Like you'll go in and you'll see a girl who's streaming or DJing or doing something, and they've got tons of fans. So like you said, it's just getting more women to kind of get their voice out there and say, hey, come on, open the door. We open the door, come in. It's easy. Just do it. Don't be afraid. Like, you can stream Candy Crush if you want. If that's what you play, stream it with your friends, and you'll build yourself up. And as far as on the business side of things, actually getting a seat at the table with bigger corporate companies, they're looking right now. They're looking for diversity. They're looking for women. And you just have to actually have a passion for it, because one thing you can't do is fool gamers. Gamers know when you're genuinely, into a certain genre or a certain type of game. And even game companies, they want somebody who wants to champion their brand as well. So yeah.
So my answer to this is, it's become the reason why gaming is has this huge problem with toxicity, with underrepresentation. I think it has to do with the gender roles in society. As gaming was coming up, as we were growing up as millennials, and the Karen's age, the Karen's generation, boys and girls were wearing blue and pink, and one was given Barbies, one was given action figures, and then the boys were given controllers, and so the boys were given video games, and I think that created this huge societal uh, uh, split between what women do and what men do as it comes to hobbies. And what that does is women have to face all these other challenges when they're trying to get into gaming, right? So not only just from like a job standpoint, even before they get there, being able to comfortably want to play games in the household for people my age, it's changed now with like Gen Z and Generation Alpha, but people my age, when they were trying to get into games, they were made fun of by their family members or was made fun of by their friends. So not from a social paradigm, it's changing. But then even in game, they have to face a ton of toxicity that men will never face in chat. If you look at all the Valorant clips, if you look at all the different clips that women are posting out there on Twitter, it just shows how much more they have to fight in order to earn that seat at the table. And so for the men in the room, you have to acknowledge that. And if you do see someone, um, being toxic to someone in chat, don't just stand there and not raise your voice. You're gonna have to say, "Hey, can you cut that out?" Like, I'm sorry, you have to deal and talk to the women who are dealing with that in the game. Just like, "Hey, you know, can you please cut that out and apologize on behalf of that person that's being toxic?" If you keep doing this over and over again, this will allow them to pursue that craft that they so deserve, without all the toxicity that they face in the chat. And then so on terms of you know when it comes to representation, I one of the initiatives that we launched early in March was, right now there's a couple of differences in these couple of really important gaps in society that is making it harder for people of color, women, disenfranchised folks in the gaming space. One is the digital divide in these institutions. So I think internet is a basic human right now. In order to participate in society, you need the internet. Um, Number two is all the hardware, right? I think right now esports is heavily PC focused in North America. We need to change that, to give more access to people to get into the space. You have to remove that big pay barrier. Um, Number three, especially in the Black community, 83% of the Black community plays video games, but there's only 2% that actually works in the industry. So that's huge. We need to make huge strides to enable our to um, close that gap in terms of recruiting, because I think that starts with like the digital divide, that starts with education, that starts with um, getting these programs up and running to get these students skill ready. When I was talking to HBCUs, um, a lot of these schools weren't able to meet like engineering internship requirements for their students because they have to pass like these types of classes or whatever. What they're looking for is not for the internship slots right now because that's hard to meet. What they're looking for is like, hey, can we have ways for them to, get endorsement by learning these classes that Twitch or Amazon or whoever needs in order to get there? Let's get them ready to apply for these internships before they can even get the internship. Give them some sort of roadmap. So I think there's a lot of road mapping that we need to do. And so yeah, that's kind of my like 2 cents on that. I'm part of like
Uh,
the social creator impact team, creator social impact team at Twitch as well. So that was something that we looked heavily for.
Really quick, I know we want to move on to the next one too, the next question. But for us here at FaZe, we started at the beginning of this year the Diversity Council, which is essentially an internal group that essentially is going to hold FaZe Clan and all of our partners, our talents, our employees accountable, and make sure that the space that we're creating, because I do see us as one of the leaders in the space that we're creating is safe for everybody. And so that's the Diversity Council's primary job. And through that, this year, every single person on our roster on the talent side, from Nick Merckx all the way down to some of our newest content creators, have undergone sensitivity and inclusion training, cultural sensitivity training, diversity training, as well as our employees. And as far as women for a seat at the table, like it's there for the taking. Here at FaZe Clan, I'm going to shout out our COO, JC Hayes. She is the person running all of the operations for FaZe Clan, female lead. And then every single department has a female lead in it. Our head of PR, Chelsea Northern, our director of talent, Vera Simone, our associate producer on my team, one of my best friends, Natalie Machike. So there is a seat at the table, especially on the corporate side in gaming. So, I think for us here at FaZe, we're just really trying to create a safe space, and we want to make sure that as leaders in the space that people see that and hopefully follow.
Thank you so much. Such thoughtful answers, and it's so very, very important. So our last question, I always, when we do these conversations, obviously I want to have action attached and resources, because what's a conversation if we don't highlight the different resources and action items that students and attendees can plug into? So that being said, as asking the giveaway question, I would love for our panelists to just throw some resources in the chat that attendees can tap into. These could be job boards, portals, forums, if there's information that they can tap into to learn more about what they could be doing to prepare for a career in esports and entertainment, just anything that you deem would be helpful for anybody on this call to tap into, because we want to make sure that they're leaving with more than just information, but resources as well. So if I could ask our panelists to just throw that in the chat, and then we'll move on to the giveaway so we can get you guys out of here. So I have a very simple question that requires due diligence, and whoever is the first to message me privately the correct answer will be the winner. That's the fairest way we can do it, okay? So I'm gonna ask the question, and then the first person to message me privately with the correct answer will win the headphones. Okay, so let's get to it. You guys ready? I see some smiles. All right, let's do this. Okay, the question is, what are the 3 key focuses of Innovate Next, which is Arabian Princess Company? The 3 key focuses that they focus on. It's on their website.
I don't even know that.
You know that. It's on your website. 3. He's been coming for me all day. 3 key focuses that they focus on.
Okay, maybe 1. Do 1.
No, we're gonna do 3. These are nice headphones.
Good for you.
Jack got it. Mentorship, community, and co-working. For Jack. Jack, please message me your email. Mentorship, community, and co-working is correct. And he has just won these amazing headphones. So Jack, send me your email, which I see here, and we will get that information right over to you. So Simone, I don't know if you want to close it out, but I'm just really excited and pumped up that everyone tuned in. We had a great turnout. I want to thank our panelists who are so incredibly amazing for carving out time out of their very busy schedules to drop the gem and nuggets today. And Simone, do you have anything else to add?
No, I thank you, everyone. The audience was so engaged and attentive, and I hope you all got a lot out of it. And understand now how you can reach us and connect with us. If you don't understand, I welcome you to email me. Yes, I did that, snelson@calstate.edu, because I'm here to help you learn what you need to know and get your foot in the door of these kind of industries. And thank you to our esteemed panelists. I cannot thank you enough. You guys are so much fun. You're so giving and kind and intelligent, and we learned a lot today. Really appreciate it.
She called us intelligent. Boy, she's got a lot to learn about that one.
Look, you said you were somebody I needed to know, and you were right. And I said, I'm going to get you speaking to students, and I was right. So we're both smart.
Love you.
And very, very quickly, thank you, Haley. Our next event is November 12th, 11 a.m. Pacific time, and we'll be focused on animation and visual arts, and we have an exciting panel for that as well. So we do this every other week. We're really excited, so please
Same link. You can use the same link every time. So put it on your calendar now. Otherwise, I'm going to have to do a whole slew of marketing again. Really appreciate it. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Be safe.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Take care.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thanks, team. Thank you, Whitney and Haley and everybody and Femi and Eric, and I'll say goodbye.
Take care.
Made you laugh. Look at them go. It's so interesting. It's like zip, 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 zip. Sarah, I like your little, that's cute.
Thank you.
she unmuted. I like it. We redheads got to stick together. If that's I don't know.
Yes.
Somebody called me out in the street yesterday making fun of my hair color. It was really disconcerting. Well, I might have told them to put a mask on, so I deserved it. Look at Haley. James Lee, what are you doing? Go away.